how did your company, how has it dealt with the ups and downs over the since end of 2008?
Well, we're just trying to keep it very, very simple. We call it blocking and tackling, making your calls, sending out your mailings, talking to your owners, and looking for motivation. Clearly, lenders, servicers, and special servicers have been a huge part of our marketplace. So we've been developing relationships with those entities, and business from them has started to come in at a much faster rate than it had throughout most of the early part of this cycle.
Are you seeing any new players coming into the marketplace so far?
Well, the foreign market, believe it or not, has been unbelievable in terms of high net worth individuals, and interestingly, people who are not in the real estate business. People who have made money in other industries around the world are coming to New York to buy property. We haven't seen this wave of high net worth individuals from overseas at any time going back to the mid-'80s. In the mid-'80s, there was a lot of this going on. We're seeing a lot of it now, and I think that's going to be a big factor in the marketplace moving forward.
We've characterized you as a talking head. Do you think you are one?
Well, certainly I have a lot of opinions.
Any deals you're working on that have not been covered in the press that you'll leak right now?
That's a great question. No, of course not. You've covered all our deals.
And what do you think about the real deal? What do you think that we could improve, and what do you like about it?
Well, I like everything about it.
We're looking for honest feedback.
No, but I like the leadership at the Real Deal. I love Amir. I like the way that he runs the business. I think the reporting is accurate, and I think it's the reporters do a very good job, and I've been the subject of it before in terms of doing their due diligence, and I think that's the way it should be.
Why don't you tell us about pop-up shops? Trend that's here or trend that's going?
Right. No, the trend is here to stay. The pop-up shops are the shop-opportunity. And in fact, many of the pop-up shops that we did last year, they're staying permanent. Madison Avenue, Soho. It's a very exciting retail market. Don't believe everything you read. Things are good and getting better.
Do people care about air rights at a time when they actually want to see brick and mortar?
Oh yes. People care about air rights because what we're doing now is planning for the turnaround. And when the turnaround comes, people want to be ready. So developers really care about air rights, and sellers can use the money.
Who's been the most difficult client that you've had to deal with?
I don't have difficult clients.
All easy?
This guy is the real deal. Right here there is no other person who can say that he's the real deal. It is John Mechanic, no question.
If Billy Rudin says that, it obviously has to be true.
Do you read The Real Deal?
I do read The Real Deal. I love The Real Deal.
So what kind of incentives have been offered?
Well, I think it depends on the building, the location, but there's a lot of dollars going for TIs and free rent. We did a whole eco-friendly pre-built program for a bunch of our buildings, about 100,000 feet of smaller units, and been very well received. So tenants can literally walk in, sign a lease on a Friday and be up and running on a Monday.
Do people really care about greening? Are they willing to pay more for eco-friendly things?
What we're finding is the cost of doing green is not that much more expensive, and I think tenants, heads of companies want to have a good environment for their employees. So I don't think they have to pay that much more, and they get a better product.
What trends are you seeing in 2010 so far?
Well, I hate to be a naysayer. A lot of people think things are getting better. I think things are still in a consolidation mode, and I don't think, for example, residential will come back before 2012. Therefore, commercial probably won't come back into what I call a recovery until about 2014. I believe things work on 7 years feast, 7 years famine.
What do you think of the vows? Are they good, bad?
What do I think of the vows? My opinion of the vows is they're fine, but I think that they will ultimately be insignificant, because I think the one thing we all know about the consumer from research that's been done all over the country over a long period of time is that the consumer hates to leave a footprint. And so if the consumer has the opportunity to go onto search sites, which they can do anonymously, or they have to sign on to a vow with an entire page of personal information required, they're going to choose the no footprint site.
So what do you think of the new system that Kathy Braddock and Paul Purcell developed? Are you aware of that company where you can go online, do you know what I'm talking about?
You mean the one in which you can ostensibly check out your broker?
Correct.
Yeah, what do I think of that? I'd rather not say.
So what do you have to say to critics of REBNY? You know, we get people on our website, REBNY, what do they do, blah, blah. What do you have to say to people that are critical of what REBNY does, how they help people, what they have to offer?
First thing I'd say is I'm amazed how many people are named anonymous. If they want to call me up or send me a letter and list their name, I'm happy to answer their questions. REBNY is not me. I've been here a long time, but it's not Steve Spinola. It's not the staff. It's the leadership. And when some of the brokers say, well, it's for the big brokers. Well, the fact that we created an RLS where everyone shares their listings, and we did this 10, 12 years ago, who did that benefit? Did it benefit only the big brokers? I think it benefited every single small broker in the city of New York.